And away we go. It is the aftermath right here on BearcatJournal.com, live from the Cincy Light Studios, and brought to you by our good friends at Mio's Pizza. If you're in and around Clifton, anytime you're on campus, stop by, see our good friends at Mio's. They will get you taken care of. Great pizza, thin crust, deep dish, great subs, great hoagies. Love the steak hoagie there, and awesome appetizers as well. Plus, a ton of great drinks to keep you satisfied, and of course, Cincy Light at your desire. So go visit our friends at Mio's in Clifton. All right, Aaron, that's a wrap. Wrap number 1 for the day as the Bearcats take down Georgia Tech 81-58. And they jumped out early. They took control of this game and really never let off Georgia Tech. Honestly, it just never felt like it was close. Never felt like there was really any game pressure on Cincinnati pretty much the entire time. Efficient. They score 80. They're over 1.2 points per possession again, even going a little bit cold in the second half compared to what they've been shooting, obviously. Only 43% from the floor and 35% from three. You know the crazy part, Aaron? We used to feel like those were awesome numbers. 44% from the floor, 35% from three. There's 3 decades of Bearcat basketball where that was a good day. And it's probably the worst half that they've played all year. Connor Hickman, really good. We'll get into the details. But overall, what was your impression as the Bearcats take down the Yellow Jackets? Can you hear me? Are you there?
They played with a lot of energy today, I thought. Yes, I can hear you.
You're like,
my internet's been weird.
5 seconds, like 5 seconds delayed. Like 5 seconds delayed. This is gonna be fun.
That's great. Well, yeah. But I thought they played with a lot of energy. I thought that they didn't rebound well at all
early. They did
outside of that.
Bad in the first.
It was real bad in the first. At one point, I think I looked down at the stat sheet, and Georgia Tech had 6 offensive rebounds. Cincinnati only had 9 defensive rebounds, and that's not going to make a happy Wes Miller. But I thought what you said about Connor Hickman was spot on, and I think that was only because Dylan Mitchell was on his way to having himself a day, and then it looked like he tweaked something or had to get looked at by Bob Mangine, and I think he took it a little easy the rest of the day. It was after he was
an animal on the glass, and especially I think he had 4 offensive rebounds in the first segment, the second half.
But he stopped flying around like he had been.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by taking it easy. He wasn't running to create the fast breaks anymore at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For this being the first big test, if you will, of Cincinnati on the road against a team that is not one that you can just chalk up to an easy W. The broadcast said that they passed the test with flying colors. You have to agree.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they never really felt like, and Georgia Tech they haven't played well. There's a lot of talent on that team. They haven't put it together yet. But you have to remember last year, they were kind of in this same boat. And then every couple of weeks, they'd pick off like a top 15 ACC team during conference play. So they have the talent on hand to jump up and get somebody. What you have to do in that situation is get up early, kind of control the game flow, and keep them at arm's length. And it felt like it got down to like 12 a couple times, but it really never felt like Georgia Tech made any type of like significant push to really actually like win the game.
No, anytime they started on a little mini run, Cincinnati's like, oh, okay, and would go on and put up like 5 straight, 7 straight with. Okay.
Right. All of a sudden, they'd be back to 17 or 18, and they would feel comfortable.
Yeah. Yep.
So 4 players in double digits. 4 players hit multiple threes in the game. They're 9 of 22 from 3. For the game, they shot 51.6% from the floor, 40.9% from three, 67% from the free throw line. A lot of that
Same
is
old Bearcats.
well, Dylan Mitchell is just not a great free throw shooter. So
Same old Bearcats.
I mean, Aaron, other than Dylan Mitchell, they went 6, 7 for 8. We know if Dylan goes to the line, it ain't gonna be like, but he did hit it the first 3 of his career,
Of his career. Yes.
That's it was a nice looking shot from the corner, kick out. Dylan,
I liked it.
Wide open, nothing but net. That's the first 3 and 3 collegiate 2.5, 2.25 collegiate seasons, whatever it is. But you know what I loved, Aaron, is that initially they saw something in the scouting report that said get downhill against Georgia Tech, and they won't stop it. I mean, I think 3/4 of the way through the first half, they had only shot 2 threes. I mean, they were just, I mean, it should have been, Aaron, you should have been in heaven. It was attack, downhill, attack, just to kind of build that lead.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. It was aesthetically, it was a fun game to watch. They did play a little bit of run and gun often, especially in the first half, and that's my favorite style of hoops. So I was very happy. They did have the first lob of the game though was a shitty lob. It was a terrible lob to Aziz. And after that,
you can't throw them in that close. Like they were 2 feet from each other. There were 3
Agreed.
defenders right there.
Agreed.
Just
it was
go
terrible.
lay it up.
It was terrible.
Outside
of that, the lobs were gorgeous today.
Yeah.
They were having fun with it. Jizzle looked like he was looking for the pass first, because there were plenty of times. Yeah. There were plenty of times on some of those fast breaks where he could have just gone to the cup himself, and instead he is looking for the slam dunk, the energy play, and it was a lot of fun.
Not often you have a guy that goes 0 for 5 from 3 like Jizzle did and still score 14 points, dish out 7 assists, and only turn it over 1 time in 29 minutes. He was tied with Dylan for the high on the day, both of them plus 23.
Goodness gracious.
Pretty good. It also didn't hurt that they forced Georgia Tech into like 9 turnovers in the first 10 minutes. And they had 5 in the first 4-minute segment. And some of it was self-inflicted, bad screens and some of that stuff. Yeah. But ultimately, they did a really, really good job not letting Georgia Tech get into their offensive flow much at all. They're a team that wants to run up and down. They were playing one of the fastest tempos offensively in the country. And they didn't get a whole lot of activity in transition. I know there were a couple times after made baskets that they got down the floor pretty quick and scored. One, West called a timeout after one, not being happy. But just overall as a team, like this is what we expected this team to look like. Like they just keep coming after you, and they do it in different ways. I was something I hadn't caught on yet, but they mentioned it on the broadcast. All 5 games, they've had at least 4 guys in double digits. That's getting it done offensively. Today, there was no like super standout, but James, Hickman, and Mitchell all had 14. Lukosius had 12, and Aziz with 8. So when you get that from your starting unit, 50, 60 points from your starting unit, you feel pretty good. 19 off the bench, so 62 from their starters, and efficient from their starters. Jizzle 7 of 13, Hickman 6 of 8, Mitchell 6 of 10, Seamoss 4 of 11, his least efficient day of the year. You knew at some point in time he was going to cool off a little bit, but still 2 of 5. He shot 40% from 3, and it feels like, what is Seamoss doing? Individual. You got anything team-wise else you want to get into?
No, not really. I mean, I think the commentators had it right when they said at the end, if Cincinnati can figure out a way to get rebounding to even, this team is going to be extremely dangerous. But that's going to require getting some of those pieces back and at full health and all of that. So you have to be encouraged, though, by the fact that they're still not healthy. They're still getting Day right and destroying a Georgia Tech team 81-58.
KenPom update: leapfrogged ahead of Iowa State and Kansas, number 2 in the Big 12, I would guess behind Houston. I watched Baylor and Arizona last night. It wasn't overly, I mean, they both got kind of handled. So, and that's 3 games this season already where Baylor, it felt like they were down 40 in the first half. And they are just getting boat raced early. So yeah, I mean, they've looked as good as anybody except Houston. Connor had 14, only four from the 1,000 career mark. Nice to see him get that on Wednesday.
By the way, up to number 7 overall in KenPom.
Yeah. Last time that happened was 17-18 when I think they finished 5 in the regular season, or 5, number 5 in KenPom. So this is what happens, Aaron, when you go on the road, you play a Power 4 opponent that's supposed to be like a 8, 9, 10-point game, and instead you win by 23. And the metrics, that's what they want you to do. They want you to go into a game like that and show that you're outperforming expectations. And so far, basically in every statistical category except potentially rebounding, which when you look, they won the rebounding battle by 7 today because they were dominant in the second half. But overall, it's just a team that's playing really, really good.
Yeah, I hope everybody else has been making money on these spreads like I have, because it's been a lot of fun too.
Let's go into our individual stuff. I mean, I think you have to have Connor Hickman as the dude of the day, if you will, as he has 14, 6 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists in 25 minutes. Just right from the jump, he was aggressive. He was looking to get to the basket. He was making plays both off the catch and off the bounce. And this is what I was talking about with Connor Hickman coming into the season, Aaron. It felt like he barely touched the ball. Like, he was not ball dominant in any way, shape, or form. But every time the ball hit his hands, he was making something positive happen. And that's the type of, like, when you're building a team, you need a guy like that doesn't need the ball a lot and can still impact the game because you've got so many other dudes.
My favorite play by him today defensively, there was a Georgia Tech player going for the rebound, and he just slapped it out of the guy's hands and it goes out of bounds, but just not giving up on the possession.
Right.
Not just like, hey, all right, you got the rebound, it's yours, you're good. Instead, he slaps it out of his hands, it goes out of bounds, and resets the entire possession. Love that out of him. Offensively, he did one of those where pump fake, step over to the side, bang, hits a 3. And it's been a little while since we had somebody doing that outside of CMOS. So finding somebody else who can do that.
Oh, that was Lander's favorite move.
I know it was Lander's favorite move.
Pump fake, watch the guy fly by, reset, bang.
Yeah. So
he looked to do that like 7 times a game. He tried to do that move.
I think that's his favorite shot. I don't know that he has a more favorite shot than that shot, but no, I like seeing that kind of stuff out of Connor Hickman today. And for a guy who has struggled shooting the ball thus far this season, great for him to have a good day like today.
Look, he's a good shooter. Like,
we knew that.
You're gonna go through a little bit of up. The other thing is, it's not like he shot the ball terribly. He just hasn't been game to game
rhythm. Yeah,
rhythm. And now maybe if this one, and I thought he was pretty good at NKU too. Now maybe you're starting to see his confidence in the system build, his ability to see the floor and understand when he's getting his best looks. So important. You're playing without Dan. One of the things we talked about is when you're playing without Dan Skillings, everybody else needs to kind of take advantage of extended minutes that there's going to be 25, 30 minutes come off the board when Dan gets there. So definitely the best game of the season for Connor Hickman. Didn't have, and I don't think it's a coincidence, Aaron. First game, he really didn't have a whole lot of point guard duties.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Jizzle and Day played I think the entire game. One of them was on the floor. So Hickman gets to move off the ball, gets to be a little bit more in his comfort zone where he's not looking to run the offense, still able to get 3 assists. Yeah. And any additional on Hickman?
Jizzle had 29 and Day had 16. So you even had some.
They played together
right
for a couple stretches. Yeah.
So I think it's important though for Hickman to have days like today, especially as he goes back to a bench role. Once Dan does get back, he's not going to be in rhythm and in the flow of the game as much as he has been with less minutes playing off the bench. So you definitely need days like today to just build that confidence up and figure out your role, carve your role in. So love it.
Hey, if you can be an energy guy that affects the game without having to have the ball in your hands a lot,
absolutely,
you're going to play. You're going to play because it's a necessary part of 5 guys, 1 ball. So the guys that can do the most with the least volume are important to have. Look, and that you need the volume guys, but that's kind of what I'm saying. You've got your volume guys: Jizzle, Seamas, Dylan, Dan. Like, you got guys on this team that need the ball a lot. So to have a Dylan that doesn't, that's
Connor.
If you have a Hickman that doesn't, that just increases your offensive efficiency, which is part of why we've seen this team be, one of the most efficient offenses in the country so far. Who you got next?
I wanted
double
to
for
go
Dylan?
back to Dylan Mitchell. Yep,
Okay.
Dylan Mitchell, 14 points, 6 of 10 from the field. Hits his first 3, as we discussed, 1 of 2. It did take him 2 shots to get it, but he did find it in the corner, right in front of his bench. 1 of 4 from the free throw line. 11 rebounds, 9 of those defensive. 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal, and several more dunks to add to his highlight reel as a Bearcat.
You knew as soon as he got the steal up top, and I think that's where he kind of tweaked his ankle. But as soon as he got the steal, you knew that was going to be a good one. Another good one on the baseline on a Hickman dish, kind of down underneath the rim that he caught, gathered, went up and dunked. He's just solid. Just solid. Like that. I thought the biggest boost of the game was coming out to start the second half, though, when they had not really done anything on the offensive glass. And he just went beast mode for like 3-4 minutes and set the tone that we're not getting out rebounded this half. I would guess, call it a hunch, I would guess the head coach might have mentioned rebounding once or twice in his halftime soliloquy. I'm just guessing. Once or twice. Very politely, very kindly. Boys, can we please rebound, gentlemen? Like, I'm asking nice. I said please. But yeah, I mean, he continues to be just a fun, like, he's 35 years of Bearcats. And like, he does all of those things that this fan base has loved since the late 80s, early 90s.
With $1 million smile. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dude's just fun to watch. He's electric. It doesn't matter. Every single game, he does something that you can put on his highlight reel. And today was certainly no exception. The second of those alley-oops where he got the knees up and all of that, that was my favorite today.
The 3 is going on the highlight reel. First one of your career.
For sure.
The 3 is going on your highlight reel.
Don't be surprised if he tweets it out or puts it on the gram or something like that. Anyway,
it's going on the gram. Dylan loves the gram. Dylan loves the gram. What's up, Ron? With Dylan, UC is now Lob City. Not arguing, like, They're
between
getting
him.
4, 5, 6 of them a game, and they're all pretty simple, pretty easy. Like, not like trying to force it, I guess is what they're not
Just
like last year, just we got to throw lobs. Like,
Yeah.
no, you throw lobs at the right time, and that's when they work.
just wait until Dan's back and you
I
have
know.
him, I mean, flying around too. So this is gonna be fun this year. Jizzle James, 14 points, 7 to 13 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 1 offensive and defensive rebound, 7 assists, 3 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 block, 2 steals.
Like that he, the three wasn't falling today, and that's fine. I mean,
Yep.
he's shot it really well up to this point. You have a
I
day
didn't
where it
hate-
kind of dips.
I didn't hate
No, he
any of
took
his
good
threes
shots.
that he took. Yeah.
He took good shots. Sometimes you just, but what, 5, 3, 8, 7 of 8 from 2? I'll take that.
Yep.
If you're 0 of 5 from 3, go to the rim. Start being a little bit more aggressive downhill. And the assist to turnover ratio is bananas for him so far this year. And today is just another feather. I think he was up over 5, like 5.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. Today it's 7 turnovers or 7 assists, 1 turnover. So that number continues to go up for him. The funny thing is, Aaron, I think when we talked about Jizzle going into year 2, we thought it was going to be a lot more loud, like 25-point games, like what? But he is significantly better, and he's doing it all within the flow of everything else, and that's a testament to him and the work he's put in.
Well, I mean, don't get lost in the fact that it is 14 points, but those 7 assists, whether they were 2s or 3s, were at least 14 points. So that's all part of it as well. I mean, you're accounting at that point for 28 points at least, not knowing what of those shots were 2s and what were 3s. So he's affecting the offense, not just himself, and that's team ball. That's what we wanted. Between him and Day, you had 9 assists total. Just shy of that 10 spot that I think is where we're probably going to set the bar for wanting things to be game in, game out. So I'm again, when you talk about a 3 ball not falling, he's finding other ways to affect the game and making sure that stat sheet is still full up, not just, well, I had a bad shooting day.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing, the way he's playing, I think allows for what we saw early where, we talked about Georgia Tech's going to be pissed based on last year.
Sure.
Like they were coming into this game like guns up, ready for Cincinnati. And Cincinnati was 14-4, 19-9. But you get the point. I think 19. It was 10 at the under 8 media stop, 19-9. So that's, you can't really ask for a better start against a team that was supposed to be ready for you. A team that's, looking at last year and going, man, these guys smoked us a year ago. That was the best game Cincinnati played, I think, all year last year. And they didn't allow Georgia Tech to even get, like the NKU game, right, Aaron? Early, NKU made some tough shots. They get some confidence. They're able to hang around. Georgia Tech didn't have any chance for that, in large part also because they turned it over 9 times in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was turning the ball over everywhere. So
what'd they end up with? I know they got it under control.
12 turnovers.
That's actually crazy because they turned it over 9 times in the first 10 minutes and then 3 times the rest of the game. But the damage was done at that point. You were down. And then, I like that we didn't see them. The lead was 16 at half. We didn't see it get down to 8. Like that early half run where all of a sudden now you're like, oh great, here we go. They've played better, but they're now in a game. Like we talked about, it got to 12 and then boom, back to 18, back to 19. So that's Jizzle. CMOS, he scores 12. Again, guys, this is what I was talking about when I said there's going to be days where he's not great, but he's still going to be right there as one of the leading scorers. He's 4-11 from the floor. He only hits 2 threes, but he gets 12 points and still, leading the way for the year. And it's funny because it just feels like, man, he had a rough day. No, he didn't.
I just wish he would rebound a little better, just a tick better. I know that's not his game. He doesn't love to run back under the hoop from the arc or anything like that. But yeah, the rest of the stat sheet for him: 2 rebounds, 1 offensive, 1 defensive, 1 assist. That's about it. But
it wasn't as good of a floor game. But I think, what happens when you play like he has played through the first 4 games, you immediately shoot to the top of the other team's scouting report.
Yeah.
And now they know we're going to do everything we can to stop him and make everybody else beat us. And everybody else went, all right, we can do that.
Real quick, this is, I know Natty Ron says a lot of stuff in the chat. This is probably the most noteworthy thing that I've seen today here. That high pressure defense, especially the full court press, was it right at the end of the half? I think it seemed to give him fits. Was it the start of the second half? I couldn't remember which side of halftime it was on, but it was.
Well, the end of halftime, they actually built that lead back out, like right at the end of the first half with Jizzle and Day on the floor together. And then they did it felt like they tried to heat them up coming out of halftime. Yeah.
They're going to have to figure out what a full court press looks like, because it seemed like they had never seen one as a team. They played it terribly.
Yeah. And that also could be one of those, like, they just didn't, I haven't watched enough Georgia Tech to know if it's something they use. There's times where something like that, they throw it on you and it's not in the scouting report, and everybody's brain kind of short circuits for a minute. Like, we didn't get ready for this. And once they calm down, they back Georgia Tech out of it. But yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like it shocked them when they first got into it, because there was a little panic. It was a little panic in their eyes for a minute. Yeah,
it was sloppy, gross. Don't like that. Figured that out. Aziz, to round off the starters, 8 points, 2 of 4 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line, 6 rebounds for those
making machine.
6 rebounds for those defensive. He had an assist. He had 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, 2 blocks, and a steal in 29 minutes extra time, because poor Arlington Page. We'll get to that, but
he was frustrated. He was mad.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
But Aziz, just handling business. Another day at the office. If he goes 8 and 6 every day with more than 1 block every game, I'm here for all of that.
Yeah. He had a couple bad turnovers. I think they're trying to get him in a position where he's more comfortable catching the ball on the block, but
and backing down. Yeah.
He's seen a lot of rains, and generally that's not something that just magically improves with, like, you go from not being able to do it to it being a strength. So, I like that they're working on it. I like that they're trying to get him more comfortable, so that if they can steal a bucket or 2 a game, like throwing to him down low, great. But, Mitchell 1 of 4 from the free throw line. He is not a good free throw shooter, Neil. I am not anticipating that to improve. His free throw shot is not pure. I do not feel confident yet in any way, shape, or form when he steps to the line.
All right, so let's have the Arlington Page conversation. First and foremost, I want to point out that his name is Arlington, not whatever Arlington, or I don't know what they were saying.
I think they were calling him Aaron Page.
I don't know. It was terrible.
It was way off.
But he ends up 4 points, 2 of 3 from the field, 5 fouls, no rebounds, a turnover, nothing else on the stat sheet other than his 7 minutes. It was he did return that's his hometown,
Yes.
and I'm fairly certain he had a silly amount of tickets of people there watching him.
Yeah.
And the kid could not catch a break today. Could not catch a break.
I don't know if Georgia Tech purposely targeted him, but every time he checked in, the ball immediately went his way. Like they went straight to whoever he was defending as soon as he got on the floor, and they went right at him and picked up a foul. 5,007 minutes. So I don't know if that was intentional by Georgia Tech, but if it wasn't intentional by Georgia Tech, it is now on tape, and teams are going to say, "Oh, just go at him." They're going to make him have to prove that he's not a high foul guy after what happened today.
And of course, some of that is the emotions of playing in front of your family, your friends, all of that. But if it wasn't something they were doing intentionally, it certainly became something they were doing intentionally.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Right, like they were hunting him as soon as he came into the game, every time. Smart coaching.
Well, and that's also honestly, if you're trying to take a position off the floor, that leaves you with Aziz and Zella. If you're playing without Arrington or with Arrington in foul trouble.
Dylan played a little bit of 5, and it looked kind of good. Just say it.
I don't hate any of that. But
just saying. I don't think they want to do it a lot, but at least you feel like if there is a situation where one of them gets in foul trouble, you can put Dylan there, and it's not gonna.
You can break glass in case of emergency and feel okay.
Right.
But yeah, something to keep an eye out for. I don't know that it's going to be. Hopefully, it's not anything that we have to worry about often. But in any case, are you score watching that Kansas game, Kansas-Colorado?
Shadur just got rocked.
Don't hate that.
His personal foul. Yeah, he did not look like he was feeling very well. So that just caught my eye. I turned over and looked, and all you see is him on the floor going. But
outside of the starters, I think Tyler Betsy probably had the best game coming off the bench today, even more so than Day. 6 points though, 2 of 5, 2 of 2 from 3. He had 5 rebounds, 3 of those defensive.
That's dirty. That's as dirty as you'll ever see, Aaron.
3 fouls, a turnover, a block, and he did all of that in 17 minutes, which is some of the extended time that he's seeing with Dan being out.
Yeah, look, I expected it not to be this easy early, but his shot is just it's pretty picture perfect. It comes out of his hand clean. There's great rotation. It's soft. I mean, he is just on point.
I feel like in any of these 5 games, I don't think he's taken shots I've been upset about either. Like, he's not taking bad shots. He's not taking shots out of rotation. He's not. I mean, they just look like they're good shots.
And he knows if he's not in rhythm, he doesn't force it. Like, if he catches flat-footed and he's open, he's not just going to throw it at the rim because he's open. He knows, move it, bang, bang, and then you'll get it back. But yeah.
So I thought he had the best game off the bench. Day though, 6 points, 2 of 3. All 3 of those shots were 3-pointers. So he also finishes 2 of 3.
Sloppy at times. You can tell he's got some work to do.
1 rebound, 2 assists, 3 fouls, 2 turnovers, 16 minutes. So they're still ramping him up. That's 2 more minutes than he logged last game. So I don't know. Day, he's not quite right. He doesn't look quite comfortable yet. He doesn't look in flow yet. There's
Not
still
yet.
something a little herky jerk about it. But you're still working the rust off.
Yeah, it's game 2 back. It's his first game really like heavy in the mix against a team like Georgia Tech. So he gets a little time to get back on track. But the beautiful part is, Aaron, he gets to be like a 15-minute just havoc piece right now. So if some of that havoc includes a turnover here and there, like just get him out there. You wind him up for like 3 or 4 minutes. You pull the string out. You let him fly all over across the floor, and then you sit him on the bench. But Wes has mentioned he's not practicing live even really all that much yet. Like the couple practices we've been to, he's in there, but he's not in for extended stretches. They're getting him in, they're getting him out, which is kind of similar to what they're doing when he checks into the game. But once he gets his game legs back, he's going to be a heck of a complimentary piece.
And lastly, the two guys battling for that last spot off the bench, Josh Reed and Rayvon Griffith. Josh ends up 1 point, 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 2.
They were trying to get him a 3.
1 for 2 from the line, 1 rebound. It was offensive. 1 foul, 14 minutes. Rayvon,
they were trying to get him a 3 at home bad, boy. Like they were hunting, feeding Josh Reed for a 3.
Rayvon gets 2 points, going 1 for 2 from the field, 1 defensive rebound in 2 minutes logged.
And that was at the very end.
It was garbage time.
Yeah. When Dan comes back, I don't think this conversation is going to matter much. So Josh is the veteran. Josh is the guy that's kind of earned his stripes a little bit more than Ray. Wes is probably going to more often than not default to Josh, especially in a game being played in his hometown. I wouldn't mind seeing Ray a little bit more, but guys, let's not forget the last 2 games. He didn't play much, and nobody complained because he didn't play well when he was on the floor. You have to go out there and play well to steal the other guy's minutes. It's, that's how this deal works. You're in a battle. This guy's a little bit ahead of you. You have to take your minutes and maximize them. Ray did that the first game and a half or so. He hasn't really done that since.
Well, he didn't get played. He didn't get any minutes last game. He saw no game play.
Yeah.
Against
I guess the second and third game. Like he was good the first game. First half he was okay. Then he didn't do much. The third game he didn't do anything. Didn't play the fourth game, and then only got 2 minutes today. You gotta beat him. The guy ahead of you, you have to go out there and beat. I know it sounds great. Ray needs to take Josh's minutes. Ray has to beat him out. You got to go out there and play better, and then you take his minutes.
Well, personally, I don't know that Josh did anything to defend his minutes today, but
the other guy has to take them, Aaron. Just telling you how coaches work. The trust is built in somebody. If you're going to pass that somebody, you got to beat them. And through practice and what we've seen so far in games, he hasn't beat them yet.
That's everybody. That's
right.
Well, I guess Zella
came in and got a nice hard foul.
Got a foul that in his 1 minute.
Yeah, got a nice hard foul. Big fella. All right. I don't think I really see anything else. 16 fast break points. That is a big thing. 16 fast break points to 7 against a team that their identity is getting up and down the floor and running, and you hold them to 7 and you beat them on the break. That's a big stat there.
Only 1.2 points per. Only 1.2 points per possession this game.
1.0 is average. 1.1 is good, but they're sliding there, and you're right. They just got to pick it up.
It's a skid.
1.2 ain't going to cut it. And like I said, it was up around 1.25, almost 1.3 until they had that cold stretch in the second half where, they didn't they weren't over 50% shooting from the floor. Luckily, they were at 60% in the first half. But yeah.
14 of 18 between your 7 of 10 layups and 7 of 8 dunks. And time leading, you can add another 38-14 onto that running tally right now of the 40 minutes played. Well done.
The numbers are impressive. The team has been good. Like they're not playing with their food, right? A lot of times we've seen good teams around here, they play with their food. Oh, they got up 10, feel comfortable, and next thing you know, it's 4, and like you're sweating out the rest of the game. This team has gotten up 10 and pushed it to 15. They've gotten up 15, they've pushed it to 20. And to me, that's, what's the old saying, Aaron? Good teams win, great teams cover. That's how you cover.
And they've been covering.
Yep.
They've been
all right, that's going to wrap it up for this show. We're going to take a break. I think I got to run Kelsey to the store. We got to go get some food. We'll be back for the game at 8. And then when that game is over, we will be back here to break that one down as well. Thanks to everybody for joining in. Thanks to Mios. Thanks to Cincy Light. We'll see you next time. It's the Aftermath right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!
Later. Tonight.